what kind of mentality would you have where you make $50 million and you decide to start flashing guns?
They're like the most prominent players of this moment. And how, because it's going to reflect on the NBA and what they allow.
So
that's $250 million, right?
For just
What's poppin', everybody?
Welcome to the Cold Popcast.
I'm Zoe.
And I'm Steve. So if you guys haven't heard yet, one of the highest paid NBA players in the entire league has been suspended for several months.
Apparently he was flashing a gun on camera, and it's not even the first time he's done it.
And this is, like I said, one of the highest paid players flashing a gun. I don't think he's about that life.
I don't think so either. What's his name, Steve?
This is Ja Morant. I
Yes,
forgot
sir.
to say that, actually,
Yeah.
but it doesn't.
That's fine. They already know who it was.
Yeah, everyone's already heard this story. It's been all over the ESPN news. I don't know if it's been on the normal news or what.
oh yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's pretty much everywhere. Sports news, Facebook, and pretty much anyone that's trying to flash news in your face,
Yeah.
like Ja Morant's trying to flash a gun in your face.
Yeah, so he plays for the Memphis Grizzlies. Probably not the best team. What does our producer think?
It's a really good team, and he's suspended. They finally have made a decision. We've got a little article right here. This is just the most recent one. This is just a day ago.
Yeah, so it actually took them a lot of time to make the decision on whether or not they were going to suspend him. He was off the court, I guess, for 2 months? Or
Yeah, since May.
Yeah.
Middle of May.
yeah.
And I believe he hadn't actually even returned back to play since the first time he had done it too in March. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's I think now they just kind of hit what's the actual timeline for what his suspension is going to be.
So this is actually in regards to his suspension. It says on Friday, June 16th, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver and the league announced Morant will serve a 25-game suspension without pay to start the 2023-2024 regular season.
It's a lot of money.
That is.
Actually, just to note that really quick, he makes a lot of money. This guy.
I hope so.
Yeah, and apparently, he's gonna lose $7.5 million from this suspension, something like that.
Yeah, it's about 7.5 mil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
I must have deleted that. My bad.
Yeah. So this Silver guy, he says for Ja, basketball needs to take a back seat at this time.
That's the
Silver
commissioner.
noted. Yeah, the commissioner
Of the whole NBA, basically, basically the owner of the league,
The big
was
wig.
nah, man, dude, you gotta just chill on this.
Yeah.
And his team responded kind of ridiculously. A lot of people have kind of chimed in and defended him, but it's just a situation that it's just kind of gotten out of hand. But 25-game suspension, pretty interesting.
But what does a defense look like? How are his teammates defending him? Are they saying, "Hey, man, I'm gonna go flash a gun too"?
Well,
That's true.
His camp that he trains with, they responded in a way of just this is ridiculous.
Okay.
That wasn't it wasn't true.
The consequence was ridiculous, so they think the actual.
They said he brought a fucking toy gun to the
Oh.
situation,
Right.
Oof.
and
Now, do they really believe that? Because there's a lot in the video that will point to
no,
the fact that
I don't
there's
think
no
they
way.
do. That's just how they responded, which is just bad.
It's a legal
Yeah.
defense. Whether it's the commissioner or whatever, or basketball, NBA, basically this is a legal situation at this point. Whether
Yeah.
he gets suspended or not, he probably has lawyers fighting on his behalf or something.
Well, at this, no, it's really just it's pretty clear and cut. It doesn't even work like that. It's just your employer sees you with a gun, they're just gonna gauge that shit out.
Yeah.
It's not even
Because there wasn't a crime committed. It's just optics.
Yes.
It looks really bad.
Well, no, I'm
It's
saying the
civil
lawyers
market.
would be discussing it with the NBA, so he doesn't get a 50-game penalty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
or an
'cause
agent, a
some
lawyer or an
players-
agent probably.
Yeah, 100%. Because some players have gotten suspended for so much more. Honestly, some would say that this is actually pretty good for someone who had just shown a gun twice.
Yeah, this is lenient by
That's true.
To a
yeah,
league
you
of
were
sports.
you were showing us some different suspension time. Someone was at 130 games or something.
Yeah, there's actually a couple really good records on that.
Yeah.
Specifically, we got OJ Mayo, 164 games. That's the highest suspension. That was for steroids. That's,
Okay, well,
that's kind of reasonable.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think using steroids in basketball, I mean
that's
may
as-
as well suspend them.
Because that's actually affecting the game. That's like cheating.
Yeah, that's probably how
Yeah.
long it'll take for the roids to get out of his system anyway.
I guess I'm not a drug expert, but I'd say that sounds accurate to me.
Okay.
Well, are you calling me a drug expert? You
Ron,
know?
Ron,
I don't know, Steve. What do you think about it? Are you?
this guy got an 86-game suspension for getting into a brawl.
A brawl like with
Is this like a list of like the highest to lowest? So this like the
this
second?
is like the top. This is the top of the like. So this is like kind of like what the standard has been before.
Okay.
But so some would say this is pretty lenient. Others would say that it's kind of appropriate. I honestly, considering all that's been handled, it did happen twice in 1 month, and that's kind of fucking crazy. Like, here are the images. Just to pull this up really quick. That's the first image.
Yeah.
wow.
He was in a club.
He's just showing that off. I mean, honestly, you could argue that that's a toy.
You could
argue that,
but
very
that's
easily.
but then you look at it, and that's
Yeah.
a gun.
It's a gun.
And then the second one, that's definitely not.
Now
a
this
toy.
one's more flagrant because he's outside. He's
Yeah.
in public.
I would say the
It
first one's
is.
almost flagrant because the first one he's like posing for us. So that was like intentional. This one, it seemed like the friend like got him on camera by accident.
This one's clearly self-defense.
Yeah, actually, in if you watch this video, the guy was just like, "Yeah, man, we're just enjoying Tuesday," and then Ja Morant like pulls the gun out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And the guy who had the camera like turned it away. He's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck you doing?
And that's the thing. I don't even think the guy expected him to pull the gun out.
Yeah, so it's pretty nuts, because this is a really, really good up and coming player. This
Yeah.
is not just like
Yeah, that's a shame.
like a random kid. Like, so I guess they're really giving him a chance with a 25 game suspension. Then again, that's a lot of games. That's a lot of money.
That's true.
Yeah, here he goes. That number. That's 7.6 million from his suspension for doing that.
Well,
you
his
know?
per game salary is $305,000 a game. I mean, as long as he gets to play another 50 games on top of that,
Exactly.
it's like
That's
he's-
another perspective.
He's
to
making
it.
more money than I would make in my entire life. So
Fair enough.
And with the NBA's response just being, he needs to take a back seat, we also have his main sponsor, Nike, and this is their response. Nike brand comes back saying, with an issued statement, "We are pleased that Ja is taking accountability and prioritizing his well-being. We will continue to support him on and off the court." That's pretty wild.
I think most brands would
Commendable.
just run at that point, especially with something this controversial that's gotten this big. But I mean, I commend them for sticking by him on it, honestly.
Right.
Yeah, it's really, I don't know, it seems a little unprecedented and
True.
kind of wild. So yeah, this is a pretty interesting story.
Oh, yeah, I feel like this is probably a good time to open it up for the commentary part of the show. Like, have everyone, give their opinion on what they think about the Ja Morant situation. Personally, with this whole thing, I want to kind of know, like, why would someone, what kind of mentality would you have where you make $50 million and you decide to start flashing guns? That's kind of like what I'm curious about. But y'all, we got Roosevelt, Leezy, Trinity, so
The whole gang.
I got a lot to say about Mr. Ja, man. Ja.
What do you think about John? Or as Kwame calls him,
Like,
John.
how do you view this
Ja
scenario?
Wick.
Like, how
Listen,
do you
there
think it was well
is-
responded by the NBA?
I think it was good.
Right? Like,
At the end of the day,
seemed
25 games is very fair in
Over
an
an 80
entire
game
season.
season,
That's very fair.
Yeah.
And Nike's response was actually very shocking.
Yeah.
Just because you would think that they would, like, I don't know, go the more cancelish route.
Yeah.
Be a
I
little bit
figured
more-
they would drop him entirely.
Yeah.
Nike
Yeah.
doesn't stick by
Antagonistic with it.
anybody through any type of hardship.
That's true.
And
Except Michael Jordan.
do you think
Very
like
true.
I'd say Adidas is worse. You see what they did to Kanye.
Yeah, exactly.
That's,
But
yeah,
yeah.
and then they fucking had to still sell his stuff.
You're right.
do you think Nike is probably supporting him because he has a bit of like a rebel sort of persona now? No.
I don't know.
Because that type of thing makes money. That's what I'm saying. Like,
well, if that's the
he's
case,
like,
there's so many other people who
Yeah, fucking
I
Dennis
can't
Rodman.
like fucking ASAP Bari. Y'all. I don't know if y'all know who that
I have
is,
no idea.
but he
So,
lost
yeah.
his Nike deal because controversial. He's the
but
worst.
was he worth as much as
Well,
Ja
what-
Morant?
was he an
was-
athlete?
No, he's a designer,
Musician?
and let's
Oh.
just say what he did to get canceled, to get his Nike deal canceled. That would have been the ultimate bad boy. So
What
I
did
don't
he?
think
Do you know what he do?
he has multiple allegations from women.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Oh.
that's not rebellious. That's
That's bad boy. That's,
Right.
Yeah.
that's bad boy. I
would
don't know.
I would say two things. I think like the reason Nike probably doesn't pull out on this one is because one, all things considered, like it's a bad look optics wise, but it's not like the most egregious thing because it's not like it's not like he's committing any type of crime. I mean, it just kind of looks bad because you want to like portray more of a professional image.
Visually,
where like
right.
yeah, but it's like that kind of gives more of like a hood like gangster type of image to what he's doing. But
Well,
it's
yeah.
not like
What about Travis Scott? He also recently got dropped by Nike. He did get picked back up.
He did?
But he
know
got
that.
dropped for his
Why?
for all of those deaths at Astro World.
That's fat.
They put
Yeah,
his
but
deal
that's
on
like
pause.
people died.
Yeah,
But he didn't do
He didn't
anything
do
illegal.
anything.
So
Right.
there's the same argument with Ja Morant.
But
He
what
didn't do anything illegal. I know people died, but he didn't do anything illegal.
yeah, but I think, but pretty much with Ja Morant's situation, it's like even with the Travis Scott, it's like people got hurt, so I could see Nike wanting to like get away from that because it's like when people
It was
are
temporary.
affected. Well, yeah, it's temporary, and they
They're
probably
back.
brought him back because
Yeah,
like
they're back down.
but like initially they probably knee-jerk reaction. It was just like, oh, people died, people got hurt. Just like with the allegation things, it's like when other people get involved, they want to get away from that as quick as possible. I'd assume until like there's reason not to
Yeah.
believe that they were
Disassociate
like
yourself.
the reason for it.
This was like a personal thing that Ja Morant
Yeah,
did.
it was
He
just
didn't-
like
no one was
affecting
involved.
his image,
Right.
but it's
No,
not
he
like
say, she say. You got it on video type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I definitely
Showed
think it all
the
comes
gun.
down
and
to
he's got a
the
statement
imagery.
too.
Yeah.
He's got a solid statement right here if anyone wants to read it.
What's up?
Yeah, zoom in for me. I can read it.
Okay.
So Ja Morant says, I've had time to reflect and I realize how much hurt I've caused. I want to apologize to the NBA, the Grizzlies, my teammates, and the city of Memphis. To Adam Silver, Zach Kleiman, and Robert Pera, who gave me the opportunity to be a professional athlete and have supported me. I'm sorry for the harm I've done. To the kids who look up to me, I'm sorry for failing you as a role model. I promise I'm going to be better. To all of my sponsors, I'm going to be a better representation of our brands. And to all of my fans, I'm going to make it up to you. I promise. I'm spending the offseason and my suspension continuing to work on my own mental health and decision making. I'm also going to be training so that it's fine. Whatever. He'll be training. So
What'll be training again? I don't know.
He'll be-
Martial arts, NBA, who
Right.
knows?
Maybe he'll come back as a
Self-control.
Yeah.
Self-control, common sense. I don't know, something like that. But
Gun target practice.
yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, honestly, because he's like what, 23, 24.
23. Yeah,
23.
20 fucking
Damn.
3. He's
Okay.
really young and
Honestly,
really good.
like regardless of whether somebody else wrote that for him to present, I think him actually having the balls to come out and actually apologize to the people around him and especially the children who look up to him. I think that's pretty important. That's respectable.
He took
You know?
responsibility for it. I think
Yeah.
overall it was just kind of like he understands like why the backlash. I think it's reasonable. Like it's I think the reason too that like the NBA probably like why I think the suspension is probably more justified than people give credit for. Like I can understand like you trying to separate like no one's getting hurt. You could be looked over, but it's one thing that he got in trouble for already and then he did it again. So I think this is kind of just like you kind of got to like put your foot in his ass to an extent to kind of be like, hey, you're not supposed to do this, and you did it again, so now you kind of got to make an example, I guess.
It's kind of like it's kind of like I
Yeah.
don't know. I just think about like maybe like if my mom like whooped my ass so that if I had a younger brother, like maybe my older brother got his ass whooped, to make an example out of him, so I don't do some bad shit, so the NBA has to
Yeah.
they
kind of like, they
That
got to
happened to
enforce
you?
it because, it's one thing to say, like, if they don't want that type of, especially with one of the, like, most prominent players of this moment, and how, because it's going to reflect on the NBA and what they allow and, what, advertisers that are investing in them. So it kind of all goes around to affect a lot of people. So that's why it's, like, important that he understand, like, what his image has to be. And so it's like when you give him the warning once and then he do it again, then it's like, okay, well, we got to make sure that you understand we're serious so that you start to take it serious.
I didn't really like the way, like, before I seen the video, they made it seem like he was really, like, pointing the gun, like, on some hood. You know how niggas doing music videos and shit. But all he did was pull out the gun. I didn't think the first time he did it, I really didn't think it was that bad. First of all, because that gun was little as hell. Like, come on. That shit was little as fuck, bro.
Yeah.
He pull out this little ass gun. You feel me? I just felt like, okay, yeah, it's probably a bad look, but is it really that serious? The second time, you feel me, when he put the gun to his head and all that extra shit, that was terrible, and he shouldn't have did that. Especially
It was like a week.
a week after you just got in trouble
It's
for
like
the
a
first
week.
shit, bro. Like,
You
that,
can't tell me that
that
that's
don't
not
make
like
sense.
planned or
Some
come
people
on.
are that
think
dumb,
it's-
man.
you think
What
Some
it's a
people just
conspiracy
aren't that
to it?
I
smart.
can
Not a
understand
conspiracy,
that.
but
It's
he's
just
probably
so they got a
tired of the
better
NBA.
draft.
He's like, you know what? F- it, let me buy myself some days off or something.
You
Yeah.
think that's really? This dude was
Dude.
like, let me like cut $7.3 million out real quick. And
I think that's pretty reasonable. Yeah.
What?
you think so?
He's so overworked.
He's a multi-millionaire. He
Well,
could
yeah,
quit
but I'm
today.
just
He's 23
I don't think
and he's
so.
already at such a goated status.
I don't know.
That's a relief.
But I don't think he would do it on purpose. I'm like,
I think he would do
There's
it.
no other way to do it.
On carelessly. Like,
Okay.
like,
Well,
to
yeah,
an
I know what you're
extent of,
saying.
Like, I could fucking risk. The
That's
season
the
is already
thing.
ending.
Yeah.
They're not making it to the playoff berth that they
Okay.
want. They don't really. They're not looking for a different draft position in the next season.
Right.
And when you're rich, you make
Yeah.
stupid ass
Right,
decisions.
like think of it.
I mean, that's
think of
true.
it from that perspective, right? He is one of the youngest players in the league.
Yeah, 20 fucking three.
Making-
Think about your decisions you made when you were 23. Were they
Exactly.
golden?
Exactly.
Right.
Plus, he's getting what? His 5 or 6 year contract was like $250 million.
Yeah.
Right. He
Right.
could stand
So that's
to
a
lose.
$250 million,
Yeah.
right?
For just
He's,
playing
he's
what he
absurdly
loves.
young and he's cocky, right?
Well, no,
he's,
I
he's
would-
cocky.
Oh, yeah.
He
I-
plays well. He's a good player.
No,
right?
I would.
He scores
I would,
a lot. He has an ego.
I would definitely.
You express that ego. You flaunt your ego.
It's like putting a
he did
PTO
something,
day
he
in.
got in trouble.
Like a PTO season.
I mean,
Yeah.
to me, it's like
Literally.
it's an imagery type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Like you're representing the NBA billion-dollar industry. You represent them, and you represent the people who kind of look up to you, right? He's signing shirts and signing shoes. Like you're there as a player, but you're there to also inspire, next generation and all that. So,
I mean, again,
Hey.
it was a bad decision. The second
it
one to
was.
me was a bad decision, but the first one it wasn't that serious to me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm legit. I'm thinking because I see when niggas pull guns out in videos. You feel me? They point. They do all this extra. All he did was flash it, and that bitch was little.
right.
as
That's why he
bro.
only got a small suspension.
I got a question.
Right? But
Did
that
he,
second one,
It
did
did
he
based on the
legally
gun
own
side.
the
when you do
gun?
something the second time,
That's something that
that's another
actually
question.
is not confirmed. So
Okay.
there was like no reason.
Maybe it's open
Are
carry.
they-
he didn't
on
have
it.
to say anything.
Are they gonna look
basically.
into it? Like, is that
here's my-
something that's?
I think that's the difference
What
between
crime-
this case. This guy actually in the NBA had already had.
Here's a good
previous
question though.
gun charge.
What crime can you commit twice and just get a fucking slap on the wrist though?
Oh, plenty.
true, but
Really?
But it wasn't a crime.
but as an
though.
employee,
But that's
though,
the thing,
right?
it's not a
No, I guess it is
Imagine
a
yourself
crime.
as an
If you-
employee.
We got to look at it as a crime because we got to put ourselves in their shoes, right?
Well, no, it's not
So
a
First
crime,
time you
though.
get a warning, right? If you're working
'Cause
out for a
it's-
job,
right,
first
so
time
it
it's
was-
a
he
warning.
didn't get any charges,
second
though,
time
so
it's,
there's no
it's
crime.
worse.
Yeah.
It's not a crime
It's
to
not a
hold a
crime.
gun. I was
No.
just
Not a
asking if he
crime.
legally owned the gun,
And-
not
and-
necessarily.
Bro, y'all not hearing me though. I'm saying, obviously, no, it's not a crime. It's a rule, I guess. But
Yeah.
in our perspective, I'm saying our version of it would be doing something that has large repercussions. What can we do twice and think that that's gonna be okay? Like our version of it. So
I mean,
his was waving a gun, but us would be even probably still waving a gun.
Yeah, I think it'd be
in
right
fucking
right
public.
there, just waving a gun. Also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one of us could do that twice in a week and actually think we gonna
I mean,
walk?
but which one of us is
That's
making
true.
probably? So he's getting paid $250 million over 5 years. That means he's probably worth $2 billion over 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the value that the NBA gets from him being a part of the team and a part of the league is, infinitely more. That like they're only punishing him at all probably because because people are pissed about it. Because
Because
random
it's the
people
public
all over the
involved.
country, because the public knows. If they were able to hide it, I guarantee you they would have hit
of
it.
course.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, but it's already become so big that it's like,
that's what
well,
imagery is.
now we got to use him as an example.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
He did it once.
Hold
He
it.
apologized. He has
Like,
to make an entire little statement, but then he did the exact same thing again.
Look at
And
this
then
other
another
case.
statement.
This other
So-
case before, this guy got suspended for 38 games for having an altercation with a gun, and that's an actual charge.
Mm.
Yeah, that's an
bad.
extra 10, 13,
That's kinda
10,
weird.
what that 12 games, 12 extra games.
I don't blame the second video on Ja because it's kind of his homeboy fault when you think about it because he was the one recording.
No, yeah,
I mean, it was like it was a
yeah.
personal situation.
Yeah,
It's
but
like, nigga,
did
why
he
would
know
you
he
put
was
the-
recording?
Right,
or-
but then again, I think it's like, man, they caught me doing it once, nigga. I'm gonna do it again.
I don't think it was intentional. I think because I'm like definitely it was carelessness, but I don't think it was like there was too much thought that went into like what made him that level comfortable. I think it was just this is how he is outside of like
He's just
in
reaching
regular
that
life,
fame.
and it just so happens there was a camera to pick up that candid moment.
Yeah, a lot of people were
True.
referencing just like
Mm-hmm.
how like his surroundings and like his mentors and how they played a role in his life, because he didn't come from a bad background. Honestly, he really
Yeah.
didn't. He came
Very
from a
true.
private school, specifically Crestwood High School in South Carolina. I mean, it's not Not bad.
You got a lot of
That's
celebrity
true. It's a
takes.
prep school.
He's
Yeah.
from
A
South
lot
Carolina.
of celebrity
What the
takes.
Yeah.
fuck?
Yes.
But you can still meet some pretty shady people in that type of environment. Still, it depends on who you're hanging around. I'd say.
It does for sure.
You know.
They have people of every background and everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't
So
say
I think it
everywhere.
largely depends on like who
If you go to
run with.
Utah, you're gonna find a whole lot of white Mormons.
Yeah.
Barely anything.
Yeah, I
else.
bet you there's some.
NBA YoungBoy lives in Utah, so you
I
know
bet there's
what
some
I'm
Mormons out there that ride pretty hard
I mean,
though.
yeah,
You know?
true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the
probably banging.
feedback
There's
on
some gangbanging
him,
Mormons.
everyone-
All right.
everyone's
Anyone got
pretty
some
positive.
closing thoughts before we close it out?
In no way,
seems
shape,
like
or
pretty
form.
positive.
In no way, shape, or form am I, trying to defend Ja Morant for his decisions.
Say
I
your
do
piece.
think-
Say
Why
your
do you
piece.
hate him?
No, you
No,
love
no,
him.
you
don't
got
you?
No, I'm
Listen.
just saying, like, it was stupid, yes, and
Yeah.
it's like clearly you don't use guns if you play with them like that. Nobody that know what the fuck a gun can do would play with it like that. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like you playing with these guns, but you don't even blow that bitch. So why are you doing it in the first place? Like, but it's like he's a millionaire, so of course he gonna have some form of protection around him. Like, it's just as simple as that. So don't be shocked just because he got a gun, because of course he's supposed to fucking have a gun. Like, regular people got guns.
Yeah.
I just feel like it wasn't that serious the first time, and the second time he should have beat his homeboy ass for that shit. 'Cause that's his fault. That wouldn't have got out if his homeboy didn't record
Should have
him
pistol
doing that
whipped him.
shit.
All
Well,
right.
that was on live, so
Yeah.
if he knew they were recording it and he wanted to, okay, I'm flexing, I'm throwing out a gun, that's on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at these responses, and everyone's pretty. The consensus is like, we support him unequivocally. I think
Yeah.
it says it right
Hmm.
here.
Yeah. I would say on my closing thoughts.
Like literally, those are the words.
Those are actually the words.
Yeah.
Accountability.
No, I would say like it was a bad mistake optics wise. I think it's something that he can learn from. So I wouldn't demonize him. He's still young, still growing, and
23.
yeah, exactly. Really,
He can
young.
recover.
100%. And
That's
it's
how
like I
I
said,
That's
it's
yeah, everyone's saying that. Like, it's just a minor setback.
exactly.
Right.
So
It's not a big deal.
and
Right.
like I said, I think the suspension and everything. I mean, it makes sense. However warranted is pretty much up to the league and what they feel is good, but I don't think it's something they were going to let him, they were really going to let him go. Same with Nike, they weren't going to let him go over it. So I think as long as he takes it, learns from it, and just goes on and, understands, I guess, the kind of position he's in and, what that entails in terms of what he has to represent, he'll be fine.
Thanks for popping in, everybody, but we got to head out. So make sure you check us out on Patreon, subscribe to the channel, and check us out on all audio platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thanks, everybody.
See you later.